Hello. Today we're going to look at a vintage 1956 Walt Disney Mickey Mouse Club magazine. I actually got this magazine about 3 years ago at a huge estate sale. The people had so many things, they actually had to rent out a separate warehouse facility, and it was just huge, and it went on for like 3 different sales because they had to keep changing out the stuff. But the people had a huge collection of magazines. I mean, they had a huge collection of everything, but I picked up a lot of vintage magazines there, and I sold some of them on eBay a couple years ago, but I held on to this one. I love Disney and Disneyana, like nostalgia, so thought it would be fun for us to look through this magazine here. Over here you see we have an ad. It's Mickey Mouse Club official coaster wagons and scooter. They're ideal for Christmas. They have the Mouseketeer Express and the Mouseketeer coaster. It says see Mouseketeer wagons and scooter at your neighborhood department, hardware, or toy store. Radio line. So here we have our warning. This is our last issue of the Mickey Mouse Club magazine. So you want to renew your subscription. And big news for 1957, they actually decided to release 6 issues a year, beginning with the Christmas issue of 1956. We're going to be very careful with our magazine because it's very old, and I mean, as far as magazines go, it is. And you can see it's kind of separating here, so we just want to be extra careful with it. So here's our table of contents, and right here tells us a little bit about our cover. It says many of our readers will recognize Karen Pendleton as the pioneer lass on the cover of this issue. The young actress makes the acquaintance of Indians John War Eagle and Iron Eyes Cody as Leslie Bradley looks on. Our color photograph is by Edward Jones. Oh, and this is interesting. It says, to our readers, this issue of the Mickey Mouse Club magazine is the first to contain advertising. A limited amount of advertising will appear in future issues of the magazine. We pledge to you that all the advertising which appears in our pages will be in keeping with the high standards we have set for the magazine. And here we have the story of Halloween, and we have all kinds of interesting illustrations. Very cute costumes over here. It just kind of tells the story. It goes all the way back to the history. And here we have stories of the storytellers. It's Aesop. So they have different illustrations about Aesop's fables. here we have a beautiful illustration. We're going to learn all about Switzerland. And I think this particular article focuses on one small village in Switzerland. And we have some beautiful photographs taken in the 50s in this small village or town that's in Switzerland. We have this really pretty illustration that accompanies our article about the weather. Here we have Jiminy Cricket. He's in a cloud. His family's enjoying a picnic in the sunshine. So this is teach kids all about the cycles of weather. The Nature of Things by Harvey F. Toombs. Oh wow, look at this. Animal autobiographies. This is about the Camel by Charles Shows. Oh, this is so fun. You get to see all these pictures of camels. The faithful camel has served man for over 2,000 years and is still a very important part of life in the Sahara Desert. A stout beast can carry over 500 pounds. A camel doubles as a plow horse in lands where horses could not live. A desert man's wealth is measured by the number of his camels. Man has yet to invent a better ship of the desert. Oh, little known animals of America. Oh, we have this pretty ringtail cat. And an ocelot. A jaguarundi. I hope I said that right. Jaguarundi. The jaguarundi spends his day sleeping, well hidden in a brushy shelter. Like many cats, he does all of his prowling at night. He lives in the desert region near the Rio Grande in Texas. Interesting. We have the armadillo and a pika. This egg-shaped little animal lives high up in the Rocky Mountains. Pikas are also called whistling hares because they make a shrill, high-pitched whistling noise. Then a marten, a member of the weasel family. It's got a bushy tail. Bushy. A member of the weasel family, the marten lives in the northern evergreen forests. Like his cousins, the Siberian sable and the stone marten, the American marten has rich, soft fur. If you will look closely at the pictures on these pages, you will see that they are made up almost entirely of straight lines. That is because the artist Edwin Raleigh lost both his hands in World War II. It is hard for him to draw a curved line with his artificial hands, so he uses many short straight lines. Mr. Raleigh is in charge of the fur-bearing animals for the Utah State Department of Fish and Game. That's really cool. And here we have a whole spread on the Navajo. And it tells about how the Navajo have lived for thousands of years in the southwest section of the United States, the Four Corner states, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And then all these pictures here tell a story of a Navajo girl. Our first picture right here says Navajos live in hogans which face the east to meet the rising sun. And then number 2 right here, her playhouses are fashioned after the hogan in which she lives. Number 3, just right here, She's had charge of the herd since she was 7. Picture 4. Soon she'll be married, so her grandmother weaves a blanket as a present. Number 5. Medicine men make a sand painting asking the gods to bless her marriage. Number 6, right here. During the last days of childhood, she must grind all the corn that is used. Number 7, she and her friend have some fun with the ceremony. Number 8, now she is groomed for her debutante ball, after which she'll be ready to marry. Here we have an adaptation of Johnny Tremaine. I actually loved this book when I read it in 8th grade. I really like this period of his American history. That was an interesting book at the time. Of course, I haven't read it since I was in 8th grade, so the details are a little foggy to me, but I just remember liking it at the time. We have a whole long section here dedicated to it. Very pretty illustrations. That's the end of Johnny Tremaine there. And then we have a really fun page about how to draw Goofy. So we have our instructions. We're going to start with simple form: eyes, nose, mouth, chin. Then how to finish him. And then just some more tips about drawing it. This section is called Music Makers, and it says the brasses or toot instruments. We have some people, illustrations of people playing instruments. So this is teaching us about which instruments are called what. So we have the trumpet, the French horn, the tuba, the double bell euphonium, the trombone, Swiss horns, cornet, is it a cornet? I hope so. I hope I said that right. And a bugle. And here we have a story about the cat in your house. Learn a lot about cats. Ooh, this is interesting. It's a story about the first balloons. Ballons. Balloons. This is a story all about how the days got their names. Next, we have Heroes of American Folklore, Paul Bunyan. I used to love this cartoon when I was little. Paul Bunyan grew to manhood in a little town on the coast of Maine. Paul and Babe, the fabulous blue ox, helped folks settle the great Northwest. Here we have a story called Bird of War. Goofy, the Olympic champ. Strength and agility are necessary qualities for a hammer thrower. A sense of direction also helps and shows the athletes friendly consideration for the spectators in the grandstand. Throwing the javelin is an art that requires balance, coordination, and a knowledge of the trajectory of an airborne object. It also requires javelin. Poetry in motion. The flight of a bird. And here we have The Leprechaun with the Flute, words and music by Tom Adair and Sid Miller. Who is the boy who spreads all the joy and hits Mr. Trouble in the snoot? He's too much for words, he charms all the birds, the leprechaun with the flute. Who is the lad who makes people glad when he has a melody to toot? He's known everywhere from Cork to Kildare, the leprechaun with the flute. When he finds a tree where the fruit won't grow, it's a wonderful sight to see. With a single toot of his flute, he'll blow the apples onto the tree. If you're inclined to be low in mind, put on your shamrock-colored suit. Come dance a jig, a fine Irish jig, with the leprechaun with the flute. Who is the boy who spreads all the joy and hits Mr. Trouble in the snoot? Who brought a smile to old Aaron's Isle, the leprechaun with the flute? A leprechaun is an Irish fairy who looks like a tiny man. Some folks say every leprechaun has a pot of gold buried in a secret place, and if you catch a leprechaun, you can make him tell you where his treasure is hidden. Maybe so, but did you ever meet a leprechaun? And here we just have a slip so we can order our magazine. And here on our last page we have an ad as shown on Walt Disney's TV show, The Mickey Mouse Club. You can get your very own Mouseketeer Polo shirt. Very cute. They cost $2 each. And then here on the back we have an ad for a very cool Donald Duck hat. The hat you'll see the Mouseketeers wearing on TV. Only $1 at your favorite department or retail store. Be among the first in your gang to have one. Squeeze Donald's beak and hear his famous squawk. Squawk, squawk, squawk. That is our little Mickey Mouse Club magazine. I hope you enjoyed it.